Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to talk about something that separates the good companies from the truly great ones. You know, the Amazons, the Googles, the Netflixes of the world. What is their secret sauce? Well, according to Marty Cagan's book, Empowered, it's not magic. It's a completely different way of thinking about technology, leadership, and especially their teams.
So let's just jump right in with a tough question, a real gut check. Is your company a feature factory? Now, it's a provocative question, I know, but being honest about it is really the first step to understanding everything else we're about to talk about.
And wow, if you're looking at this list and nodding your head, you are definitely not alone. Cagan paints a picture that's super common. Teams feel like mercenaries. They're just there to code what they're told. Technology isn't seen as the engine of the business. It's just a cost center that's there to serve the business. The whole game is about shipping features, checking boxes on a roadmap. It's all about output. And the result? Well, it's not pretty. Motivation tanks, nobody feels any real ownership, and innovation? Forget about it. The company is basically just a sitting duck, waiting to be disrupted.
But here's the good news. Cagan says it absolutely does not have to be this way. The gap between these feature factories and the best product companies in the world, it's not some unsolvable mystery. It's a choice. There's a much better, much more powerful way to work, and it's built on a totally different foundation.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this all down. We'll start with the problem itself, then look at how the great companies operate. We'll unpack the 3 keys to innovation, really get into the difference between team types, talk about product discovery, and then wrap up by asking what it really means to be empowered. So before we can even appreciate the solution, we've got to get a really solid handle on the problem. This feature factory idea that Cagan talks about, understanding its symptoms, is absolutely the first step for any company that wants to change.
Okay, so we know what doesn't work. So how do the great companies do it? You know, it's easy to think it's all about the surface level stuff, the culture, the free snacks, the ping pong tables. But Cagan argues the real difference, the thing that actually matters, goes way deeper. It's about a few core principles of how they're structured to operate.
And it really comes down to 3 huge differences. 3 areas where the best just think completely differently than the rest. And we're not talking about small tweaks here. These are like the foundational pillars of how they build things. It's all about technology, leadership, and teams.
Okay, key number 1. This is a big one. In most companies, technology is viewed as an expense, a cost you have to manage. It's a service department. But in strong companies, technology is the business. It's not just supporting the product, it is the product. It's what allows them to solve customer problems in ways that just weren't possible before.
And the second key difference, it's all about leadership. In a feature factory, product leadership often just means being a project manager, making sure the trains run on time. But in great companies, product leaders are some of the most critical people in the whole organization. They're not just managing a backlog, they're setting strategy, coaching their people, and making sure the team delivers actual, measurable results.
And this last one, this might be the most important shift of all, and it's what we're about to dive into. It's the difference between handing a team a list of stuff to build versus giving them a real, meaningful problem to go solve.
Okay, so let's really zoom in on this because it's the core of everything. Cagan makes a super clear distinction between these 2 kinds of teams. And as you'll see, the difference between focusing on output versus focusing on outcome, well, it changes absolutely everything.
So a feature team, they're basically a group of mercenaries. They're handed a set of blueprints, that's the roadmap, and their job is just to build it. Did you ship the feature on time? Great, job done. But they're not really held accountable for whether that feature actually did anything, whether it solved a problem, whether anyone even used it.
An empowered product team, on the other hand, they're like missionaries. They're not given blueprints. They're given a mission, a real customer problem to solve, or a business opportunity to chase. They get to own that problem from beginning to end, and they have the autonomy to figure out the best way to solve it. And then they're judged on the outcome. Did you actually move the needle?
And this chart just lays it out so clearly. The focus shifts from output to outcome. Let me put it this way. A feature team gets told, build a share button. So they build it, ship it, and move on. That's output. An empowered team gets a different task. Figure out how to increase user engagement through sharing. Maybe a share button is the answer, but maybe it's something totally different, something 10 times better that they discover along the way. Their job isn't to build the button. Their job is to solve the engagement problem. That's outcome.
Okay, this all sounds great in theory, right? But you might be thinking,
Why go through all this trouble? Why can't we just, build what our stakeholders ask for? It seems so much simpler. Well, Cagan argues that's one of the biggest traps a company can fall into.
And there's a very clear answer to why this just build it model is so deeply flawed.
There are two really big reasons why. First, your stakeholders, and even your customers. They're experts in their problems, for sure, but they're not experts on what's possible with today's technology. They can't imagine the innovative solutions your team can. And second, here's the hard truth. Most ideas are just bad ideas, or at least they don't work out the way we think they will. We can't know what's going to work ahead of time, which is why you need teams discovering solutions, not just executing a pre-approved list.
And that's exactly why something called product discovery is so crucial. It's the work the team does before they build anything to answer 4 critical questions. Is it valuable? Will people actually want this? Is it usable? Can they figure out how to use it? Is it feasible? Can we actually build this thing? And finally, is it viable? Does it work for our business? Answering these questions up front is what separates the powerhouses from the factories. So when you put all this together, what are we really talking about? We're talking about a transformation. The goal is to move your teams from being those mercenaries we talked about to being missionaries. Mercenaries just build what they're told to get a paycheck. Missionaries are true believers. They believe in the vision and are genuinely passionate about finding the best way to solve the problem.
Look, if you take away just one single thing from all of this, let it be this simple phrase. It's not about output, it's about outcome. It's not about how many features you can ship, it's about what results, what change you can actually create in the world. That is the fundamental mindset shift. And this idea is captured perfectly in this quote from the legendary coach Bill Campbell, the guy who mentored leaders at Google, Apple, you name it. It perfectly sums up what real product leadership is about. Your job isn't to have all the answers. Your job is to create an environment where the great people on your team can step up and find them.
And that's really the question to leave you with. Take a hard look at your own team, your own company. Are you creating an environment of command and control or one of context and empowerment? Are you building a feature factory or are you building a product powerhouse? Thanks for joining this explainer.